Good morning, Patriot fam. Thanks for joining the #1 show on Patriot.tv, Open Mic with Allie and Michelle. Guys, we are so excited that you are here.
Excited.
Not only are we live on X, on Truth, on Spotify, but we're also live on YouTube, you guys.
So far, let's just phrase that. We're hoping and praying for the best, but we're still going to be, uncensored, unmuted, all the things. So
hopefully
we're grateful. We're grateful. Thankful for our production team that helps this happen, that allows this to go forward. And especially Kevin here in the studio. Shout out to Marisha, who helps us, Brianna, and as well as Krista, who's in our ear. We love you.
All right,
Allie,
girl, what's the rundown? What is
some fun things to talk about today? I don't know about anybody else, but middle of the night, kind of 11 o'clock, we got that tsunami warning update. So we'll be talking about that. We're, of course, going to hit on the Russian collusion hoax because this just keeps getting deeper and deeper.
Conspiracy is just continuing. When they double down and triple down and quadruple down on the fact that it's not existing, I mean, it's still going. So we have to cover
it. Absolutely, we do. And, we'll finally get a word or two from Trump in an interview on just some Epstein information, also some Russian hoax information. But whoever knew, Allie, that jeans were so controversial, we'll, of course, get to that.
I can't wait. I'm so excited.
Oh, gosh, guys, we always are going to keep that mic open.
To where we started, we're wearing our red hat tonight. It takes more than just a feeling. Oh, better be believing, and America's gonna be home.
What do you do when they try to cancel you? MAGA Nation, we cancel proof. My red hat stays on. My red hat stays on. You know I love y'all. Stays on. It's the mayor of Maggie,ville, the RNC King. 2024 freedom gon' ring. This the red, white, and blue. I'm still fighting for each one of you. And keep your red hat on.
What do you do when they come for you? Freedom's what you gotta lose.
Not my girls trying to find Open Mic on YouTube right now on the TV.
Will they monitor that for us, Allie? That can be their little assignment today. Mom, you're still on.
Working. Yep. You got to let me know if we're on, okay?
And what does it if we finally get booted off? Like, we just want to know what was the last straw.
Yeah, well, we'll definitely keep an eye on that out here. So that's good. That's good.
Allie, I'm happy to
calling human trafficking slavery again. Will that be it?
Yeah, absolutely. Happy to see you guys today. Thank you for joining us on this wonderful We the People Wednesday here on Open Mic. So, Allie, something we haven't touched on in the last 2 days that have been on my mind, and I've kind of we've not really included it as part of the show, but our tech producer here in the studio was showing me a little bit of Ozzy Osbourne's funeral that's taking place right now. We've lost some iconic people. So, Hulk Hogan, we know he resided here in Florida. Another one that comes to my mind just as a sports fan and as a Cubs fan, and yes, I know they really haven't had a winning season in a long time. But Ryan Sandberg was one of my favorites, Allie. I had a little crush on him when I was younger, and he was just so good. Yeah, I did. What'd you say?
I bet you did. Look,
I love you.
there's something about baseball players. I don't know. I'm not really a football player. Like, kind of, I like the game of football, but
Yeah.
I think so. It's funny because I'll watch TikTok sometimes, and it's like they're like, "You're at another baseball game," and she's like, "God forbid a girl goes to the boys' zoo."
What is it? The boys?
The boys' zoo because they're behind. They're behind.
They're behind the screen, and you're not
Yeah, they
allowed to
are. They're
touch
behind the
or
net.
feed.
Right, they're behind the net, so you can't feed them. You can't touch them. You just
Why do I feel like we're about to go see a minor league game just as research? That's pretty funny. Oh my god.
just research purposes.
Just research.
We're
It's
here for
work.
research purposes.
Oh
So
my
fun.
gosh, Allie. So let's talk. Let's talk about the breaking news of the tsunami warning that was issued really overnight, in the wee hours, for them on the West Coast. Not so early, obviously, or not so late, but Northern California, stretching all the way up the coast. There, you can see really not much took place. Hawaii was included in this. So this is part of there's an 8.8 magnitude earthquake struck Russia, and so the off the coast. So obviously the tsunami warnings ran, Allie, for Hawaii, the West
Right.
Coast. They did have some decent sized waves on the West Coast. I saw photos of these huge killer the beautiful whales that are out in the Pacific Ocean, kind of getting tossed up on the shore. That's very sad to see what happened to our
There was
wildlife.
a report I saw that three or five beluga whales ended up on the coast. They beached themselves, I think, 2 days before this earthquake. So nature always knows ahead of time. So if you're
Isn't
not
that
paying
amazing?
attention to God's creation and His world, He always gives us signs. It's up to us to pay attention. So I don't
It
know.
certainly does.
I don't know. Our hearts and prayers go out to those affected. I know we were in spaces last night with James. He's originally from Hawaii, and he had some family members that he was trying to get a hold of, telling them that they needed to move because his spaces usually are the ones that we hear things first, and we talk
Yeah.
about things that aren't being covered in the news. And we because of the brilliant minds that are in the spaces, we come up with what is going to happen. It's almost like a prophetic space. It's interesting.
Well, and Allie, because you have people that have been covering the news for the
Oh
last, I
gosh,
don't know
for
how many years,
years.
independently, and being told that they're wrong, being told that they have to be silenced, and
Right.
we're finding out they were right all along. So you do kind of want to hear what's everybody's, what is their take on it? Because, and then it's almost like we're wagering in spaces, like, who's going to take, weather control for 500, like it's like we're
Right,
playing our
right.
own game there. But yeah, it's interesting. Now, I haven't heard any reports, obviously, on any damage coming out from Russia where this originally took place. But the good news is there's not really a substantial damage up and down the West Coast. So that's good news. A lot of people were reporting on last night, late at night when this broke, is some of the early warning systems. Now, the West Coast has this. I know that firsthand from being out there. Up and down the coast, obviously, Hawaii has it. But do places like Florida, do places like Georgia or Alabama, do they have, those that have like a Gulf Coast? What about up and down the East Coast? Is this something that we just don't worry about? It's interesting because I would imagine any
Well,
place coastal.
I would think that that would be something that we should be focused on if we were able to actually balance the budget and put our taxpayer dollars to work for things that actually made sense to better our communities as far as
Right.
um, you know, infrastructure, right?
Yeah.
Like
Right.
that's where our tax dollars are supposed to go is infrastructure, not pet projects. And over
Yes.
the last
Absolutely.
several years, maybe 50 years, we've seen even probably more than that, 60 years, 70 years, we've seen our money go to things that don't necessarily make sense. I mean, that is why Doge was created, right? To
Mhm.
get rid of all the fraud, waste, abuse,
Right.
and all of that. And so yes, I do think that that needs to be implemented, especially if President Trump is trying to create a golden dome for an
Yeah.
imminent threat of, missiles, right? Why wouldn't
Right.
we put sirens out for tsunamis? You never know what's going to happen.
You
So
don't. And
preparing,
yeah.
You know what I always say, piss poor planning leads to piss poor leadership. So
And Allie, yeah, we've had earthquakes off the coast of, out in the Gulf of Mexico, even closer to Mexico that really could damage things in the Gulf. Allie, I don't know how you feel about this, but the DOJ has apparently let somebody off the hook a little bit. It is the person that basically gave thousands of dollars in bionic face shields to the
yes.
rioters in LA. This was during, them rioting really for no reason, I guess because ICE was doing their job, because if you're here illegally and you're especially criminal illegal, ICE is doing their job. They didn't like this in LA County. But the DOJ just dropped all the charges. Take a quick look at this guy. I think we've got a clip of him or a photo of him. I don't know. Why would the DOJ drop the
National
charges?
Guard folks in Westwood tonight as well. So look at this. This was some video from earlier that was pretty startling to me. And you see this. These are boxes of masks being handed out, and a lot of folks seeming to just grab them like candy. These look like they are bionic face.
Maybe he gave some good information, and we're just going to get the bigger person above him who actually paid for these.
I hope so. I see. This is how this works. Have you guys ever seen CSI or what is that? What is that? Law and Order or
Criminal Minds,
Special
all the
Victims
things.
Unit,
Yeah.
Criminal Minds, all the criminal shows. It always shows that they go after the henchmen, the ones at the lowest totem pole. In order for them, they offer them immunity. They offer them some kind of business deal or some kind of not business deal, but a deal.
Yeah, a
in
deal.
order
A
for
deal
them
is
to
broken.
get to the bigger shark. That's kind of how that works.
Well, I'm hoping that we'll get somebody higher up the food chain there. Maybe he was just the person who was set to hand these out, and not really the person who did it, who bought them. So
Right.
let's wait and see how that turns out. Another thing that we want to make sure we report on, Ghislaine Maxwell. We know that she
Speaking of
testified, or she
pardons.
gave,
And deals. Speaking of deals, right? Go ahead.
yeah. Well, she says now that she would be willing to testify before Congress, but only if she's granted immunity. So this is kind of interesting. I think we kind of saw this happening, I think, in our own circle. We talked about this. She's not somebody that's just not going to take a deal. What's in it for her? So this might be kind of a good way to launch. She knows there doesn't have to be a black book. She knows the Rolodex is in her head.
It's in her head, right? It's not written down somewhere, unless you got severe brain fog because of COVID. I don't know.
Yeah, she wants full immunity, and she does not want to be interviewed from prison. She wants to be able to come in front of Congress, which I think is trying to pull at the heartstrings of people to say, I'm just a person like everyone else. Obviously, her victims and Epstein's victims would not say that. But what do you think of this? What do you think of trying to cut a deal with her in order to spawn the start of having some names? Is it worth it?
Yes, I think it is worth it. I think it's worth it. Immunity, I think that might be a little bit of a stretch. I don't know. Maybe a lesser sentence. Or something. I don't, but I mean, do you really think that she's going to be able to have a life after this? I mean, she's known around the world, right? Like the process is the punishment. So her face is everywhere as a trafficker. And so whether or not you give her immunity, I don't think she's going to be able to have a I guess what would you say, like a romanticized luxury life after prison.
Right. Well, and she could go to another country. I know she's not, she's got ties all over the globe.
Or maybe just revoke all that. I know
Right.
our government knows how to play chess, right? They know how to play chess. They know how to play poker. This isn't something that's new to them. So I'm sure when they grant her immunity, they will revoke all her passports and her offshore accounts and things like that, freeze her assets and things like that. But
if not already,
right, if not already. But I do think that yes, there needs to be something in order for us to get to the perpetrators. It wasn't
when you talk about
dead.
when you talk about not having a life after something as publicized as this, you made me think, and I know this isn't part of what we were going to cover today, but you made me think of right here in Florida, Casey Anthony, right?
Oh.
And what came out about her. They could now she wasn't found guilty, but she was found guilty. Do you know what I mean? I don't know how she got off
In the court of public opinion.
Yeah, and so, but she's out like partying and living it up as a single
Dating,
woman.
ladies.
Dating.
You can't find a date. He's not gonna text you back. But Casey Anthony's got dates, bro. Something's wrong.
Dude. That could be a whole nother show. What is wrong with that? What is wrong with that?
That's a problem.
That's a problem. Ladies first. We're gonna have that show. Watch for it. Watch for it. I love this.
After dark. It'll be great.
It's so cute. You shared this with me the other day, Charlemagne, basically. So now you've got, our culture and people within independent media, podcasters now kind of talking about the double standard when it comes to reporting about Epstein. They want to try to tie him to Trump or say, he had a picture with him and Melania and Epstein, but they never show the other side as far as the ties to the Clintons. Let's take a quick listen to this, and I want to get your reaction.
It's just funny how the news works. Because Bill Clinton, wrote a letter to, Jeffrey Epstein as well for his birthday, but nobody's talking about that. And Jeffrey Epstein had a picture of Bill Clinton in a dress and high heels, in his New York mansion, but nobody's talking about that. My thing is this: I don't care who's on the list. Everybody got to go. Burn it all down. Like that's just simple as that. Mutually assured destruction. Whoever's on that list need to go. Nobody needs to be protecting pedophiles. I don't care what party they are.
No, period. And, to that point, though, Clinton is not the president right now. If he was, you think that anyways. Yeah, I think he would still be under scrutiny if he was the president right now.
No, he wouldn't, because liberal media wouldn't push the issue.
Thank you, Charlemagne.
That part.
Thank you, Charlemagne. Thank you. I do not agree with most of the stuff that you say, sir. But that right there, yes. Thank you for coming to the dark side. We appreciate you for using your cognitive, abilities, the meat between your ears. Thanks a lot. So yeah. I do think, oh God, no. Turn that off. No. What is that? Oh, go away. Nope. Turn that down. Turn that off.
Ellie.
Get out of YouTube. Terrible idea. They can't find us, and they scrolled around something else, and I'm like, nope, turn it off.
Nope.
Nope. Yeah, no, but honestly, I do believe that. So this is the problem that I have with people asking for the list, right? It's the same thing that Donald Trump said. It's there are people that have had. It's not the perpetrators that are on this list. Ghislaine Maxwell knows who this is. It's in her brain. It's not written down somewhere, right? And anybody that is associated with him, they're thinking of like this list that's like written down somewhere, and it's like anybody that's associated with Epstein is automatically a pedophile, and that may not necessarily be true. And so you're going to end up damaging and defamating, someone's character based on who they've been in pictures with or who they've been seen with. It's just it's absolutely crazy. So I think we need to be very careful with how this unfolds, and this is why I think this is being slow walked.
Absolutely. And, so he's referring to the fact that Epstein did have a picture of Bill Clinton in a dress and high heels. I'm not sure that's something
I wonder,
anybody
like,
really wants to see.
Why is that? And why was that not talked about when President Clinton was president?
It's when his wife Hillary was running for office. I mean, I guess.
Right.
And that's why I love Charlemagne for doubling down on that, because, you could see somebody else in the show just trying to offer another side to it. And he's like, no, he doubles down on it. I know you started talking earlier in the show, Allie, about, needing to balance the budget and these continuing resolutions that keep going. So here is basically the Senate leader, Tom Thune, who we've had issues with for a long time. I hear he's not running for re-election. No surprise there. But he says he's open. He's open to considering another continuing resolution to keep the government open. It's like an endless flow of tax dollars. Take a listen.
How are you going to handle a CR at the end of September? Will you do what you did in March, basically take a House passed package, bring it to the floor, or would you enter a four corners negotiation ahead of time?
Well, to be determined. I think a lot of that depends on how cooperative the Democrats are in trying to get the appropriations process moving forward. Obviously, I would say all options are on the table when it comes to funding the government. But what I can tell you is we are going to look for ways to keep the government funded and open and operating. And what we hear, at least rhetorically, coming out of the Democrats right now is they have a very different view of the world. And they're already talking openly about a shutdown. And I think the politics on their side of the aisle right now is such that, as I said, the far left, the wing of their party in the Senate is calling the shots. And I don't think that's in anybody's best interest. So I'm not taking any options off the table, but What I will tell you today is that as we look at this week and then the subsequent weeks coming in September, I intend to use those weeks to try and get appropriation bills done so that when we get to that year-end conversation, we're prepared to have a hopefully a substantive conversation about what the best way is to fund the government.
Thank you so much, sir. You have a situation.
This is interesting because you know what this isn't, Allie? This isn't written in the art of the deal that you lay all your cards out on the table at the beginning. Like, this is something he should be, in my opinion, he should be keeping close to pocket. He should be not commenting on it. He should use that time. What do you always learn when you're running for office, when you're in office and you get asked a question? Answer the question they should have asked. He should have used this time to redirect and say, what about the 130 something nominees that we need to push through that Trump has appointed? That's what we need to fast track.
That's what we need to focus on. And the fact that you can't expect appropriations to pass anything or to get anything done if you guys are constantly out of the office. You work 4 days a week. Sometimes 3 days a week, because most of y'all don't go in on Monday. And then Thursday's like a half light day. And then Friday, there's nothing on Fridays. You guys leave DC on Friday, or you stay in DC and you F around. Like, this is ridiculous. We need to stop. And I think our budget would be balanced if it was directly tied to Congress and congressional seats. You can't run for re-election if the budget is not balanced. That is your fundamental job as a congressperson.
Allie, we learned this even here in the state of Florida, where we're both from. That is constitutionally, at least here in the state of Florida, it is the only mandate that's given to our legislative body, is to be able to balance the budget. So I'm sure that's situationally the same in Congress. You're right. I don't understand. I forget who it was, what senator it was, that wanted to present legislation that said that, the cost inflation would be directly tied to whether or not you could run for office again, whether or not you have a job. I mean, listen, yes, we have elections, but I'm going to tell you, unless those are stringently increased security around our election system, you're going to have loopholes, you're going to have issues. And I don't know that we allow people to continue to do their job if they're not doing their job. The rest of us, the private sector, doesn't work that way.
No, not at all. If I'm caught not doing my job, I'm cut. Bye. See you later, Alex. It should be the same way. Instead, we celebritize our politicians. We love our politicians. No, and that's not supposed to happen. You can't do that.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. We do become. It almost becomes a little bit of an idol here in our country. And listen, we say that as MAGA, that we really do have a heart for Trump. But listen, we on this show have also held Trump's feet to the fire, or at least questioned things. It's not a blind idolatry. So, which is funny because the left actually does the exact opposite. We've seen that with the media. Trump taking to social media and saying that basically the firing of Stephen Colbert from CBS Late Night, terrible show. I mean, I tried to tune in, just absolutely terrible. This is not the Johnny Carson of late night that used to be. He's saying it's not because of him. It's not because of Trump. He's saying that it's the fact that CBS is deficient of $50 million a year. That's a lot of loss. So he's saying that he thinks other networks are going to follow suit, that their ratings are tanking. I don't know how they're able to pay their bills.
They can't, and that's why they're dependent on these outside donors, these outside philanthropists, these people that are like multi-billionaires that just give them their money because they're owned by these people. They're required to do certain things, and instead of making light of situations on both sides, they tend to swing more so one way, and they refuse to read the room and right the ship. So it's like, it's just, if your ratings are terrible, you're gonna suffer. It is what it is. You're in a consumerism kind of job. Like, that's just how that works.
It's so true. I want to
who's freaking president? Y'all stop it.
Y'all stop it, she said. Before we get on to our next news story about ICE and Tom Homan, who we love here, I want to make sure that we thank all of those that are now viewing us on Facebook, on Rumble. I am told YouTube is holding strong, Allie. We haven't pissed anybody off yet there.
Good.
And when we do, we'll be sure to let you know. Thank you to our viewers on X and Spotify, our listeners as well. Allie, so ICE is, listen, the economy's doing great. Jobs are coming back, but you know who's hiring? ICE. ICE, baby. They are hiring. They are, President Trump is now advertising for people to sign up to become an ICE agent. Make America safe again, he says. This is pretty exciting. And, you know, just like we saw a surge go through the military with you know, people wanting to enlist, I'm sure this is going to be the same with ICE. This is going to be amazing.
$50,000 sign-on bonus and retention bonus, you guys.
Hold
That is
on.
insane.
I'll be right back.
Okay, I'll be right back, right? Right? We'll be right back. We'll be right back. We're going to go live.
Listen, it's
from
just
ICE. We're going to go live from Alligator Alcatraz in our new uniforms because we have decided to join ICE,
In
and
a
we are going to
heartbeat.
hold, you know, illegal aliens accountable by throwing them in the cage. You know, we were actually talking in Trump
She said a
Tuesday. It was
cage.
actually really funny because Sean Frosh was in there, and he
Yes.
is a very great impersonator of Trump. And they had asked the questions like, "How do you feel about ICE?" You know, blah blah blah. He was like, "I really think they should just throw them. How about we just put them in the Everglades by themselves and figure out who wins? Make it like Hunger Games."
Hunger Games. May the odds forever be in your favor.
Or just feed the pedophiles to the alligators and just call it a day. Like it just.
I said that's
like,
exactly
okay.
what we're going to use Alcatraz for. Once we get all the you know, immigration issues fixed, we're going to keep it open, and that's where.
I mean, and then we had a friend of ours from Arizona. She's like, you know, we have like black widows and like scorpions and, you know, rattlesnakes. Like we just flood the whole like
Just make-
outside. Just
like our own Fear Factor. Do you remember the show
Yeah.
Fear Factor?
yeah, I remember with Joe
Stream
Rogan.
it live. People would tune in. People are morbid like that. They would tune in.
It's wild. It's wild.
We love Tom Homan. Tom Homan had this to say about the fact that he actually had to shut down LinkedIn, the ICE LinkedIn profile page because so many people were inquiring about jobs. Take a look.
Surprise.
If you will, in terms of legislation, has that money allocated to hire more ICE, more ICE agents, excuse me, federal agents. I wanted to ask you about that. Can you talk about the incentives to recruit more federal agents to be used by ICE? What is out there for them to maybe consider coming out of retirement or consider this as a career path?
Well, I can tell you this, John. We had thousands of people contacted me. I mean, literally thousands. I had a LinkedIn account, I had to shut it down. So thousands of agents were already wanting to come back from the Border Patrol and from ICE without a signing bonus. But now there's a signing bonus announced, $10,000 signing bonus, and numbers are extraordinary. I was talking to the CBP Commission this week. The record, they got more recruits coming in from Border Patrol than any time in history. Their recruiting office is swamped. They got more people than they can handle. ICE, I know they got hundreds and hundreds of people already signed up to come back. And it's a great move. Bring back ICE agents who know the Fourth Amendment. They know how to speak Spanish. They know how to use the processing systems. They know the way we operate on fugitive operations. So they hit the ground from day one after a few weeks of refresher training. So it's a great move. And also there's.
It is a great move.
gosh.
And I love how you know, this, Allie, when you have strong leadership, people, when they see that vision, they want to be a part of it.
Yeah.
You know, and I think this is so it happened in the military. Now ICE, go ahead. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, no, this is incredible. I mean, I see a lot of like retired military going back in like, oh, this is our time right now. Yes. And I'm like, I got the itch. I'm excited.
Uh-oh.
I'm like, uh-oh.
If you see a post for an open mic anchor, you know it's because Allie went and joined ICE. Maybe we both do. Maybe then we still do the show, like you said, in our new
Yeah,
attire.
my call sign will be no me hold on. Tiny person. No me
I don't
hold on.
know. I don't know how to recover from that. That's so great. That's so great. It's kind of listen. It's one last thing before we hit our first commercial break, but it's kind of sad when one of the things that we did vote for on November 5th was obviously for Trump to be able to have all of these federal judicial nominees. We need this across the country. This is why you vote for a conservative America First person to be a commander in chief, because you want to get those federal judges appointed across the nation apparently that is also being stalled. So now Trump takes to social media and is basically calling on Iowa Senator. He's been in office like, I think, 4 or 5 decades. Senator Chuck Grassley is saying, help in advancing my federal judicial nominees through the Senate confirmation process. What is the holdup? We actually have the Senate, guys. We have a majority in the Senate. We hold the House and Senate. So if we're not progressing this, Senator Grassley, what is the holdup? I think it's okay, Allie, for us to push this confirmation process and just see if there's anybody on the right as a Republican that wants to hold this up or drag their feet. Better to do it now in really early preparation for 2026 so we can primary them if we have to.
No, I agree. I think there was one judge that was appointed yesterday. He was confirmed yesterday. And we had a VA memorial services. He was also confirmed yesterday. So we're getting the ball rolling. It's very slow, but that's why we are here to help push, apply our political pressure. So make sure you're calling Senate Leader John Thune and just encouraging them to just thank you for doing your job. Continue to push this forward. We appreciate what you're doing. Just give them a little bit of encouragement while they're doing it. I don't know why, but it works sometimes.
Well, and I think the encouragement too to use their time in front of the microphone, because whether it's there on Capitol Hill or they're getting, a press junket together, use that time to continue to educate the American people. So Trump doesn't have to take to social media and speak directly to the American people. Use your time in front of the camera to say, hey guys, we need to get all of our senators together. Make sure you're reaching out to your senators. If you were elected, that's exactly what you should be doing and saying.
That's what we would be doing.
I know.
This is why they didn't want us to be elected, because we know how to wield the people. We have the support of the people. And it's crazy how when you get elected, you no longer feel like you need the people unless you're trying to be reelected. And that's the wrong aspect. I mean, I remember, in my line of work, our line of work, we have representatives call us all the time, whether it's from our state or on, in the federal level, like, hey, you guys have a network. I need help pushing this bill. Hey, you guys have a network. I need help killing this bill. Like, simple as that. It works.
It's simple.
They know what works.
Absolutely. We will do the dirty work for you. We will gladly reach out to people. But I think there's a really eloquent way to say this, right? When you're in front of a camera, somebody like Tom Thune or even Senator Grassley can come out and say, listen, thank you for thinking about the CR. That's a few months down the road. One of the things that's more urgent is passing Trump's agenda right now. So,
because that's what the Americans voted for. The Americans didn't vote for a continued resolution. Actually, in fact, we don't want a continued resolution. We'd rather see the government completely shut down than to continue to fund garbage. So
you almost don't need a Doge then. Guys, keep it locked here to Open Mic. Thank you for tuning in on all streaming platforms and social media. Make sure you share, like, and subscribe. We're going to be right back with more Open Mic with Allie and Michelle right after this short break.
Gold IRA companies are a dime a dozen, especially in conservative media. We vetted out 34 companies and chose Augusta Precious Metals.
With the lowest across-the-board spreads in the gold IRA industry, Augusta saves Americans thousands of dollars.
They are the only major gold IRA company that has zero complaints from their customers. Zero. None.
Augusta Precious Metals does not have commissioned sales reps, which means their goals are aligned with yours.
They were the only gold IRA company that demonstrated integrity and transparency without using gimmicks.
The informative one-on-one web conferences by Augusta Precious Metals answer all of their customers' questions before they make a move.
If you're ready to learn about protecting your wealth and retirement with gold and silver, request your free gold guide from Augusta Precious Metals today.
Visit patriot.tv/gold. That's patriot.tv/gold today.
I was just thinking, Allie, in our commercial break.
What's up, babe?
I was thinking it's been a long time since we've had like a shoe come out in our show. You remember those days? Like not that long ago. I feel like because Trump's in office, we get to report on kind of some better things. But do you remember the days of like you just slamming your purse on the desk and like taking out a shoe, getting ready to chunkla, ready to throw it like a frisbee? Good days now, good times. If you notice that your woman is very more mild-mannered, it might be because Trump is president.
Are you like, that trend? It's like, you seem happier. Yes, because I have an actual leader in the White House.
Oh, I wonder if that's true. And
Inflation
you
is
know what?
down.
I'm going to keep my mouth
Eggs
shut.
are cheaper. Waiting for him to get rid of Jerome Powell because we can't afford to buy a house. But the stock market is booming.
Waiting on James Fishback to actually continue just exposing everything at the Federal Reserve. That's amazing. So Trump commends one person in particular during an interview on actually being one of the few people in sort of a mainstream media network field of actually reporting on this coup to take him out, to take over not only in 2016, but also we're teetering now on more information coming out on what took place during 2020. And I'm just gonna let you know, Allie, we know this, we were right. But let's take a listen. It's a little bit of a lengthy interview, but I do want to let our viewers hear this. Take a listen to Trump himself.
What they've done is so bad for this country. And it really started right at the 2016 election. And there's a difference when you know it and when you know it and it's all written down for you. I mean, it's all there. It's right there. The orders, the memos, the whole thing is right there.
Were you surprised when you saw it all laid out?
I would have thought they maybe would have thrown it out. I don't know. They handed it. They say, put this in highly classified. It was in highly classified, in areas that normally you wouldn't get to. But I guess when you put it in there, it's a file, right? And they got to it. And it's unbelievable. When you read it, it's unbelievable. A real hoax, it's a real hoax. If they would devote their time to winning elections, or if they devote their time to like greatness, making America great again, it would be because there's a certain genius to it, but it's also sick.
Yes.
I mean, they're sick. And you look at Hillary Clinton, you look at all of the terrible things with the Steele dossier, and you know it better. Nobody's covered it better than you, to be honest with you. I mean, you're sitting here so innocently talking to me like, I said, it's wonderful. You know the story better than I do. But it's incredible. It's all there now. It's in writing. And Tulsi's done a great job. There were some people that really wanted Tulsi. They thought she was going to do a fantastic job. And when you look, a lot of people would not have found it. They wouldn't have found it to be politically correct to find it. Okay. It would be easier not to.
And she's tough.
And she's tough and she's smart. And she did. She went deep into the files and she found it. And what it says is just terrible. And look, this was.
And what it says is terrible. And it makes you realize that maybe somebody like Tulsi Gabbard, who listened, was just a Democrat not that long ago. It shouldn't matter, right? Blue or red, it should be red, white, and blue. We, the people, control this. And if somebody is trying to undermine the government or the sitting president of the United States or our election system, we have a right to know. And I love how he says, listen, it was a failed coup, but it's not just 2016. It's going to be 2020 as well, Allie.
Absolutely. I think they're going to go into the elections and what actually occurred there and how that was essentially a coup as well, and how they worked with machines and companies and that owned the machines and operated the machines, and how there were what was it, the 2,000 mules, and how all that coordinated with even this Russian this Obamagate, the Russiagate. I think a lot of things are going to start to make sense for people when more information starts to come out, and I think having it done incrementally is a whole lot easier for the American people to grasp, because they have been so hoodwinked by the news media and this fabricated evidence that has come out, that it's going to take incrementally for them, incremental releases for the majority of Americans to kind of get a grip on what is really going on behind closed doors. I was actually listening to an interview with General Michael Flynn. I can't remember who.
Oops, do we still have Allie?
They were telling President Trump not to don't hire General Flynn. And that automatically is like, your ears poke up, right? And so, but President Trump he was new, he was green. He didn't know what it was like to be around those people. And so he listened. But when he started kind of realizing the information, what was interesting is that he was being briefed. He should have been briefed. Because he's incoming, he's a candidate. So if you're a candidate running for president, you're briefed on a lot of the things that are coming out, but they hid that from him.
Well, even as president-elect, before he took office in January, Flynn has come out and said they were altering the reports to only show Trump a short portion of it. And obviously Trump went ahead and brought Flynn on board. Flynn later resigned because of what they were trying to do with Flynn. But there's more that's going to be declassified, guys. It looks like the FBI not only knew that Steele dossier that they were referring to was complete shambles, but that Hillary Clinton was behind this. They're saying that today being Wednesday, so Thursday, tomorrow, is when they think these documents are going to hit. I want you to just listen to a brief portion of this interview on Bannon's War Room, and then we'll talk about it.
It's coming this week. I think you'll see in the next 2 or 3 days. I asked President Trump about this in our interview last week on Just the News, No Noise. Would you be willing to release the classified annex of the John Durham report? He said, absolutely. He told John Ratcliffe, go declassify the classified annex. And John Ratcliffe is in the process of doing that. It'll come out through DNI and through Chuck Grassley, Senator Grassley, who, like me, have been fighting for this annex for several years. Here's what it's going to show. We already established that Barack Obama and John Brennan knew in early July 2016 that Hillary Clinton was concocting a fake Russia collusion story to try to harm Donald Trump's chances of winning. We're now going to have absolute emphatic evidence that the FBI, the people who opened up on Donald Trump, on Carter Page, on George Papadopoulos, they also knew that Hillary Clinton was pulling this dirty trick, and they were playing into it. They were using the Steele dossier, a direct product of the Clinton campaign. They were using people like an Australian ambassador named Downer, who was.
So this is like an onion alley, and it really smells awful. But as you keep pulling back the layers, I mean, the amount of implication here, I think we'll see end actually with some in the media that call themselves journalists. But yeah, and then I just read online, it looks like actually Benny Johnson is live right now on his X Spaces, and he's saying bombshell release expected today. So we could be getting this today.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm ready for it. Look, it's going to be an incredible show tomorrow. That's all I have to say. With
All I have to
whatever
say,
is coming out, we're definitely going to be talking about it. That's for sure.
You
And
better
we'll
set your
probably be in
notifications.
Spaces later on today talking
Yes,
about it too.
ma'am.
So make sure you like and share and pay attention to us when we're on Spaces. If you follow us on X, you'll see that little icon, our little face. It lights up. And it's got like a microphone on it. That's how you know we're in Spaces. So
We're in Spaces, absolutely. Before we go to another break, I want to make sure we get this. This is something you shared with me. I think you were alluding to this earlier when you were talking, Allie. It's a post from General Flynn. If you're not following General Flynn, you need to, because you'll get all the news before it actually happens. But he comes out and says, listen, Barack Obama told then President-elect Donald Trump in one of their meetings, do not hire Flynn. It wasn't just advice, he's saying. It was an underhanded warning to Flynn, or to Trump. He proceeded to hire him in 2016, November of 2016. But they knew, Allie, early on, and this has been part of the Flynn story all along. If you haven't seen the Flynn movie, go to flynnmovie.com. Make sure that you stream it, get a copy of it, because it'll tell you all the things you need to know. Part of what is so troubling about this is that they didn't just go after Flynn to try to get him to turn on Trump. When Flynn wouldn't, they went after his son. Now, what parent is going to sit there when they say, listen, okay, we don't have the goods on you, but we'll make it up on your child, and your child will spend time in prison? What do you do at that point? It's literally the weaponization, not just of, we've seen it with the judicial system, but this is the intelligence system, right? The FBI, the CIA, they've got an enormous amount of resources. If they want to come against this was meant to take, I think they've picked the wrong Irishman as General Flynn says.
They did, for sure. And a lot of people do not have this kind of courage.
Yeah.
A lot of people do not have this kind of strong will to survive under any circumstance.
Yeah.
General Flynn, I think, is an anomaly for most people.
Mhm.
Most people cannot fathom the fact that he still stood 10 toes down.
Amen.
Right. And it's just incredible, the fight that they have as a family, and the things that they have been through. And he is definitely somebody that I look up to. Not just as prior service member, but as someone personally, I look up to him. It's just incredible.
It seems like those that have been prior service, like you, Allie, they get out of the service and they don't stop fighting, and they just
No.
find another lane to fight in, right? And I love that about you. I love that about our veterans.
It might be ice.
It might be ice. Stay tuned. I do want to, I forgot about this video clip, Krista, sorry about that. I don't want to skip it, where Flynn actually breaks the fact that, I think this is coming out today, either today or tomorrow, that the new documents that are going to be coming out will actually show you what took place partially in the 2020 election. Listen to Flynn here.
Can you frame this for us? What are we about to see?
Yeah, so two things, and there's still a lot of internal undermining within the CIA that has to end. The exposure, though, that I think we're about to see is additional exposure of the current evidence that we are seeing with the undermining in the 2016, 2017 timeframe. And I think the big one that's going to come out, and I think it's going to be even worse, is 2020. So 2020 was the coup, as I've said very bluntly. You know, the plan initially was Obama, Hillary, but that got stopped by Trump, right, and the American people. And so then they had to figure out how to do it again. And the real coup was 2020. And I think that, you know, I wouldn't expect something in the next 24 hours, because I think that there's some machinations going on inside of the government right now. But I think a lot of what we're going to learn in leading up to 2020 is the coup. And remember, President Trump was the president at that time, right? The 51 intel and defense advisors that signed the Hunter Biden letter. I mean, that's public now. There's a lot of other things that are not public that led up to 2020 that led to the coup and the rigged election where Uncle Joe became the president of the United States. And God, look at what we're learning about the auto pen, right? So more to come. That's where I think, you know, if you want to put a finger on what's next, it's that.
Wow. So that would be, I mean, President Trump wasn't necessarily in power. He was.
Can you imagine being the sitting president at the time, and you have, I mean, that just tells you they worked for 4 years while he was in the administration. So there were people that worked behind the scenes for 4 years to try to stifle him, and then played their dirty hands in the election. He just said, General Flynn just said, they're still met with backlash in the intelligence communities. It makes me feel like part of our ask needs to be our call to action as faith people of faith, is that, you know, pray for these people. Your Dan Bonginos, your Kash Patel, Pam Bondi. We need to make sure we're holding them up in prayer, General Flynn, to be able to do the right thing, because there is a backlash happening even now.
Oh, for sure. And we need to make sure that there are no more holdovers from the Biden administration. There's still holdovers from that are sitting in the DOD right now, and within the three-letter agencies that we're supposed to be right-sizing. So we need to get rid of those people, find out who they are and get rid of them, because they can essentially be utilized by the people that are still working. They've worked for the last, God knows how long, 10 years to try and get President Trump as a coup. You know, it's mind-blowing.
It is. It reminds me, Allie, of like a really, we talk, you know, we're women, so sometimes we tie things together, like to relationships or to motherhood or parenting. But this reminds me of like just a really bad breakup. Like, you know, what's the first thing you do? You take their stuff to Goodwill, you know, or you set it out on the front lawn not front lawn. I didn't want to sound like I was too ready.
Waiting to exhale, setting it on fire.
I didn't. It's all alleged. I didn't. But I'm just saying that, right? So we broke up with the Biden Harris. We don't want any leftovers. We're good. We're good.
No leftovers. No leftovers.
Oh, guys, we'll be back with more Open Mic. We're going to talk about why in the hell this jean ad campaign, denim jeans, is so, it's making liberals cry tears, alligator tears, right and left. But I think Allie and I have something up our denim jean sleeve to combat it. Guys, don't go anywhere. More Open Mic with Allie and Michelle after this.
Do you have enough food to feed your family for several months if the supply chain falls apart? If not, why not?
There is no guarantee that grocery stores or even local farmers will be operating in your area if circumstances change.
The problem is that most survival food sucks. That's why we get long-term storage food from Heaven's Harvest. Their food doesn't suck.
Heaven's Harvest uses all natural ingredients that they freeze dry to maximize taste, nutrition, and shelf life.
They source their foods locally, right here in the United States.
They even offer heirloom seeds so you can grow your own food.
It's the kind of food that you and your family could enjoy every day. And the way things are going, that might just happen.
Visit patriot.tv/food. That's patriot.tv/food and use promo code PATRIOT at checkout.
Don't wait. Stock up on long-term storage food today before food prices start rising again.
You know where there's really good acoustics to sing if you're not a singer, but you kind of think that you are in an alternate life? You know, the shower. I can sound just like Hadass, to be honest. Give me a record deal. I sound just like her. Not so much in here when I can hear myself. It's not.
Oh, no. I love it. That's so funny.
Guys, thanks for tuning in to Open Mic with Allie and Michelle. Make sure you follow us at Real Allie Leger, at Michelle Posey, and of course, at Open Mic Ladies. You can reach out to us at contact@openmicladies.com. You know, there's on the right here, when we are speaking places, lots of times we get called names, good names, like a firebrand, right? Somebody that really has no problem using their emotions and just speaking truth, really, in a firebrand kind of way. The left is showing up on the Senate floor, and the House floor. Well, this particular one is the Senate floor, and they just sound more unglued than anything. This is Representative Cory Booker, and he's going off about how he thinks that the Democrats deserve to lose. Take a quick listen, and we'll talk about it.
The Democratic Party needs a wake-up call. I see law firms bending a knee to this president, not caring about the larger principles, that those free speech rights, that you could take on any client. Why are you bending the knee? I see universities that should be bastions of free speech bending at the knee to this president. I see businesses taking late night talk show hosts off the air because they dare to insult a president. I see people who want mergers suddenly think that they have to pay tribute to this president. And what are the very people here elected to defend the Constitution of the United States saying, oh, well, today, let's look the other way and pass some resources that won't go to Connecticut, that won't go to Illinois, that won't go to New York, that will go to the states he likes. That is complicity with an authoritarian leader who is trashing our Constitution. It's time for Democrats to have a backbone. It's time for us to fight.
Huh? You can't even spell Constitution. Spell
Do you know
it.
why? Do you know why some of the money from the big beautiful bill is going to states that he likes? It's not that he likes them more than the others. They're not sanctuary states and sanctuary cities. You want taxpayers to pay for illegals, but we can't help our veterans. Cory Booker, I think we need to get our miniature violin out and just play it. Cory Booker.
I think he needs a civics course. I think that's what he needs, is an actual civics course on proper roles and responsibilities of each elected office, in order for him to actually grasp the idea that it's not the president who is canceling people off of networks, TV networks. It's ratings. People are not interested in Stephen Colbert. Nobody is watching his show. That is why. Nobody is watching The View, because there are a bunch of crazy women who don't understand what a woman is. Like, and they ostracize their husbands. It is insane. And insult them on national TV. It is wild. Yes. It's not about placating to a president. It's about actually doing what is best for the American people and holding true to what our actual Constitution says, not what you think it says. Cory Booker, sit down. Sit down. You've spoken enough. Sit
down. I couldn't have said it better myself, Allie. That's exactly the truth. But it's interesting that they can see it on the left as well. And that means people that were a part of this plan, to just drive us full steam ahead into Marxist socialistic ideologies. They're now seeing, oh no, I've ran on this. I've stood on it 10 toes down, and now I'm probably not going to get reelected. Somebody like that I do appreciate how she does this, how she works. Just to kind of show the other side of the spectrum is Anna Paulina Luna. She is going to get she's going to get riddled with hate at work for this. But she is still saying, you know what? I am still going to force the House to vote on member stock trading bans. Allie, you and I have talked about this many times. There are people on both sides of the aisle that this favors because they're allowed to vote on things, and then they also hold stock in some companies that allow them to reap the benefits. This should be a conflict of interest. Anna Paulina Luna saying, I don't care who's going to come for me. I am going to force this vote so the American people can see what side you sit on.
And I'm going to say this. She is one of the extreme few, and I literally mean like one of three, maybe one of one at this point, who actually does not care if she gets reelected or not, because she's bringing forward controversial bills that will hold actual elected representatives accountable for the things that they do, and keeping them from operating outside of their lane. This is a conflict of interest. And I like that she's like, you know what? Come for me. This is the right thing to do. I don't care if I lose my seat. It's the right thing to do. And she's doing it anyway. And she's utilizing every tool within her toolkit to make sure that it happens. She's contacting people that know how to network, that know how to move the needle, that know how to to connect all of the people within not just her district, but around the nation to support her bills. She's very smart at what she does. She's brilliant. I'm so glad we have her. And I'm so glad she's from Florida.
So part of the call to action today is actually to make sure that even across the nation, can we all reach out to Anna Paulina Luna and show her a little bit of love? Because we like to show them that we're listening and that we're paying attention when they're not on the right side of issues. But we need to be diligent on also doing that on the other side. Anna Paulina Luna, we appreciate what you're doing. I know we don't even agree with her on everything. I mean, that's not the point, right? You're not going to agree with everybody, with any particular person on everything. But to be able to call this out and do it, I really want to show our support for her here from Open Mic. One last thing, Allie, because we've just got a few minutes left. I know you and I have some plans on how we're going to handle this, but this beautiful Sydney Sweeney did this wonderful ad for American Eagle. I didn't get all in my feels about it. Allie didn't either, but apparently the left did. They're calling this a Nazi racist ad. It's all about denim. Take a quick look.
Genes are passed down from parents to offspring, often determining traits like hair color, personality, and even eye color. My genes are blue.
Sydney Sweeney has very genes.
I'm not here to tell you to buy American Eagle jeans. And I definitely won't say that they're the most comfortable jeans I've ever worn. Or that they make your butt look amazing. Why would I need to do that? But if you said that you want to buy the jeans, I'm not going to stop you. But just so we're clear, this is not me telling you to buy American Eagle jeans.
Sydney Sweeney has very genes.
You see what I did there, right?
Krista.
Hi.
I mean, they just keep going and going. I love this.
I love it. It's great. Honestly, they're just jeans. And I like the play on words. And I think that's kind of where people are going with this. It's like this play on words. But this is what fragility looks like when you are crying because you're like, oh, this is white supremacist Nazi propaganda because it's a white-haired blonde white woman with blonde hair and blue eyes. And she's talking about how you have good genes. Well, Beyonce actually was in she was in what, Calvin Klein's or Levi's? I think it was Levi's. She's in Levi's. And it's literally the same thing, except her hair is blonde and it's straight. That's not natural. It's not her natural hair color, 1, 2, and that's not her natural hair texture either. So, it's weird to me that we have to make everything so divisive. Yeah. Stop crying. If you don't like the lane that you see, create your own. If you don't like the representation that you see, create your own. Because yes, I don't think that it is. I do think that that these companies need to kind of expand a little bit. And although we have seen in 2020, there was like, she was like trans and like extremely overweight. And
Allie, for the last 4 years, I didn't see a white straight couple anywhere on any commercial. No, sure. And I'm just going to say that as somebody with Hispanic descent. I saw lots of Hispanics. I did not see white straight couples.
I didn't either. But you know what also I don't see? I don't see a lot of Latina single women that are in these ads either. I don't see a lot of beautiful Black women that are in these ads either. So there is a little bit of truth to what people are saying, but they're going about it the wrong way. And so I think what we have coming up here in the next couple of days is going to kind of play on that a little bit as well. So it's going to be
Yeah,
fun.
don't piss off a MAGA woman is
It's
all we're gonna
America.
say.
Can we just
Can we just celebrate?
Right? Can we just like being in comfortable jeans, please?
That part. You know how I can't wait to get out of these dress pants and get into some blue jeans.
Comfortable jeans. We're just a
Comfortable
girl in jeans. That's it.
A little
That's
bit
all
of
it is.
elastic, a little bit of stretch, maybe a little. Can we get some
High
boot
waist,
cut?
you know, some boot cut. So I like the skinny jeans. It's all good.
Love it. Allie, I know we're going to see each other later today, but for you guys, we're not going to see you again until tomorrow. Make sure that you like, share, and subscribe, and that you get your notifications turned on for when Allie and I go live, for when we're in spaces, for when Open Mic Ladies is on, because you're not going to want to miss what's coming out. Apparently, it can drop either today or tomorrow. A lot more documents coming your way, and you're only going to hear it on free speech networks like Patriot.tv and Open Mic. Allie, any last words for our viewers?
No, just make sure that you are calling your representatives, especially those in the Senate, and telling them to continue to push forward those nominees. Thank you guys so much for joining us. We'll see you tomorrow.
God bless you. See you tomorrow.
Is high, inflation's up in the sky. Red hat stays on, red hat stays on. And I don't care how they look at me in the deepest heart of a blue city. Red hat stays on, red hat stays on. And I know when you smile, you like what you see. If you love America, you'll agree. Red hat stays on, red hat stays on.
Did you ever wonder what happened to the Drudge Report? During the 2016 presidential election, Matt Drudge was one of President Trump's most vehement, adamant supporters. He was promoting Donald Trump really since the escalator, okay? And he remained steadfast. He and his site remained steadfast throughout the primaries. They ripping on Ted Cruz, ripping on John Kasich, ripping on everybody, and focusing on getting President Trump the nomination. Of course, after he got the nomination and then won the general election, Matt Drudge and the Drudge Report remained fairly true to President Trump, but things started changing pretty quickly. And all of a sudden, we started seeing a rapid shift from being pro-Trump to being very vehemently anti-Trump. Now, prior to this, there was a lot of speculation because there seemed to be a lot of Bernie love, oddly enough, didn't seem to fit for a pro-Trump site. Now, there have been a lot of theories, and I'm going to share mine with you. Let's go through some of the ones that are most popular. Some say that Matt sold the site, that he's no longer involved with Drudge Report. Others say that he's involved, but that the site was owned or is now owned by the Chinese Communist Party or some members of the globalist elite cabal or the deep state or the Democrats or whoever. I've heard those rumors as well. My theory, and there are others, to be fair, my theory, which is based upon nothing but speculation, is that from the very beginning, Matt Drudge has always been a progressive. He's always been a leftist. And you could see this even before the 2016 election. I think you could see hints of this throughout. And what happened was he had found his niche decades ago. He found a very high quality money-making niche within conservative media, and he stuck with it. And it built him power, it built him a whole lot of money. And he thought, I'm going to play conservative. He hired some great conservatives like Andrew Breitbart and the like. But I think that after the 2016 election, after President Trump won, and after he started getting blamed, quote unquote, blamed by legacy media, the Washington Post was talking about it. A lot of people were saying how really the Drudge Report was one of the biggest reasons that President Trump won. I think that Drudge had been living a lie the entire time, and decided, you know what, I can't do this anymore. I made enough money. Let's go ahead and shift over and show my true colors as a Bernie bro. And I think that's what happened. I could be wrong. But either way, it doesn't matter. The reason I bring it up is because Patriot.tv is more than just a place for shows. We are turning it into essentially a Drudge alternative, a place where you can see content from multiple sources available right there for you to browse and get a true conservative perspective. So check it out. Go to patriot.tv. That's patriot.tv and see what we're doing today.